All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're exploring the Cariyāpiṭaka, which translates to the basket of conduct. And look, these aren't just some old, dusty myths. Think of them more like a roadmap for one of the most ambitious journeys you could ever imagine. And it all really comes down to one massive question. What does it actually take to become a Buddha? We're not talking about just being a good person for one lifetime. No. This is something else entirely. An epic quest of self-mastery that unfolds over, well, countless ages. So, this whole journey, it really centers on one key Pali word, pāramī. It basically means perfection, a spiritual perfection. Imagine taking a quality, say generosity, and just cranking the dial all the way up to 11, and then snapping it off. That's the level we're talking about. So today, we're going to explore 3 of these perfections, and let me tell you, each one comes with a pretty wild story.
Okay, so a path like that, where do you even start? Well, it all begins with the perfection of dana, or, in simple terms, generosity.
But listen, this isn't just about donating some old clothes or cleaning out your garage for charity. We're talking about a whole other level. This is about giving away the things that are most precious to you, the things you love with all your heart, and doing it without even hesitating for a second.
And there's this one line in the text that just hits you. Omniscience is dear to me, therefore I gave away my beloved ones. Wow. Just let that sit for a moment. The idea that to gain the highest wisdom, you have to be willing to give up the deepest love. I mean, that's the kind of intense logic we're dealing with here.
This brings us to the absolutely incredible story of Prince Vesantara. So this prince was famous for his generosity, so generous in fact that he gave away the kingdom's sacred elephant, which got him and his whole family kicked out. But that's not even the main part. While living in exile, he faces the ultimate test. Someone asks for his children, and he gives them away. And then his wife. It's a really tough story to wrap your head around, but the why is everything. For him, attaining supreme enlightenment simply required that level of sacrifice. Nothing less would do.
So, okay, after that intense challenge of giving, the journey shifts. It turns inward. The next mountain to climb is sila, which is all about perfecting your morality. Think of it like forging a kind of spiritual armor.
What does that mean, really? It means your moral compass is so unshakable that you wouldn't hurt a fly even if your own life was on the line. It's about being able to take anything, any insult, any attack, any humiliation, and never, ever retaliating.
And check out this vow from a being called the Naga Prince bodhisatta. He says, I would never break my virtue, not even for the sake of the 4 continents. He's pretty much saying that you could offer him the entire world, and it still wouldn't be worth sacrificing his own integrity.
And you know what? He gets a chance to prove it. See, bodhisatta is this powerful naga, a kind of divine serpent being, and he takes a vow not to harm anyone. Well, a cruel snake charmer captures him, torments him, and makes him perform like a circus animal. Now, bodhisatta had the power to completely destroy this guy in an instant, but he doesn't. Instead, he just endures it all, staying completely still. He chose his vow over his freedom, over his own life. That is what perfected morality looks like. All right, so we've covered giving and morality, but now the path takes a turn into something, something that's really going to bend your mind. We're talking about Saka, the perfection of truth, and honestly, this is where things start to feel like magic. You see, perfecting truth isn't just about, not lying. It's way deeper. It's about being so aligned with reality, so completely truthful, that your words gain this incredible power to actually change the physical world around you. We're talking a truth so pure it can literally bend the laws of nature. And it all centers on this very specific kind of declaration called an act of truth. Listen to this. I have wings but cannot fly. I have feet but cannot walk. My parents have left me. O fire, turn back. It sounds like a strange little riddle, right? But in this story, it's a weapon. So, who spoke those words? A tiny baby quail. It was all alone, helpless in its nest, with a raging forest fire closing in. It couldn't fly, couldn't run. It had absolutely nothing, except the absolute, undeniable truth of its situation. And when it spoke that truth out loud, something impossible happened. The fire, it literally split in 2, flowing right around the nest and leaving that little chick completely safe. Now that is the power of perfected truth. So you've got this radical giving, right? Unbreakable morality, and a truth that can literally bend reality.
The stories of the prince, the serpent, the quail chick, they're more than just tales. You gotta see each one as an entire lifetime, dedicated to mastering just one of these perfections. Poured into the fire, to forge something pure.
So let's just recap real quick. We have dana, the perfection of giving away what you love most. Sila, the perfection of morality, where you endure anything without fighting back. And sakka, the perfection of truth, speaking a reality so powerful it can command nature itself. And each one of these was a separate life, a different body, a whole new challenge to overcome.
And that, right there, is the path. This relentless focus on perfecting these virtues, going through every kind of test you can imagine, again and again and again, for eons. That's what it takes. That's the price you pay to reach the ultimate goal, Sambodhi, or supreme enlightenment.
I mean, the level of dedication here is just staggering to think about. Which kind of leaves us with a final thought, right, of these three perfections we talked about, that radical generosity, that unshakable morality, and that powerful world-changing truth. Which one of those ideas resonates most with you on your own path? Something to think about.